My fellow South Africans,
addresses that have come to be known to many as family meeting. President Cyril Ramaphosa, on his third year of his first administration, had to adjust into a new form of governing. Known for his negotiation skills, a trade unionist and someone who played a role in the delivering of South Africa's constitution after the end of apartheid. 3 years upon assuming office, he was faced with a crisis like no other. The last global pandemic happened in 1918, and so the arrival of COVID-19 was uncharted waters for world leaders. On the 23rd of March last year, President Cyril Ramaphosa announced that the country would go into 21 days of lockdown in an attempt to flatten the curve of COVID-19 infections. This was a sign that catastrophe was coming.
as a nation, we've been forced to take aggressive action against an invincible enemy that has threatened our lives and the lives of our loved ones. We have been forced to adapt to a new way of living in a short space of time.
Then came the day no one expected. The 26th of March, the year 2020, the nationwide lockdown came to reality. It was passed in terms of the Disaster Management Act. This limited movement for everyone except for essential workers. Restaurants, gyms, liquor stores and clothing retail stores were amongst a number of businesses that were not allowed to operate. This all in an effort to try and curb the spread of coronavirus. The president said he was guided by science. With the fear of not knowing what's to come, the president said he was doing this in fear of numbers increasing. South Africa had reached more than 400 confirmed cases, and the fear of their contacts remained in the minds of many. The first case in the country was confirmed in the first week of March.
I'm dressed in your uniform as your Commander-in-Chief to signify my total support.
But as the country continued to journey to the unknown, the president took a consultative route which he was applauded for. But that didn't last, as some political parties complained at a later stage that he was no longer consulting.
Although President Ramaphosa has been in charge of the government during that time, he's not solely to blame for the fact that we have such a poor record compared to the rest of the country.
I think that President Ramaphosa's performance when it comes to leadership during the COVID, when it comes to managing corruption, when it comes to consultation, I think that his performance is quite a mixed one, in the sense that government initially was not interested in consulting. The NGOs were left out in the earlier planning. It was just government on its own and its advisors.
As the battle against COVID intensified, a scandal of corruption erupted under his watch. This as the president couldn't separate himself from the corruption that have been synonymous in the governing party. The norm and the pattern of corruption overshadowed the good work on the fight against corruption. This meant another test for his leadership, especially under the trying times of COVID-19. The need for PPEs for some was an opportunity to loot.
I think that when it comes to management corruption, the president can be praised for speedy response, but it is quite worrying because one worries about prevention here. I mean, corruption in relation to the COVID-19 expenditure was quite predictable.
The problem in South Africa is that we are so used to trying to compare ourselves to the countries of the West that we spent most of COVID-19 trying to deal with this as they would in Western Europe and America without acknowledging the strengths of our own populations and the realities of our own situation.
The relief was when South Africa announced that there was a vaccine, but another blow hit the country when government realized that there was something wrong with the 1 million doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine. Now many will look to the president as the slow-paced vaccination rollout continues amongst a threat of another wave of coronavirus infections. Ntlantla Kgatlhane, SABC News, Johannesburg.